Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tiana,
Jordana,
and Marilyn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted. Hello and welcome back to the Get Sculpted podcast. We are all super excited about this one because we are going to be future pacing. We are talking about how to create your 2.0 self. And this is important because a lot of us just see what's right in front of us, but we don't take a minute to zoom out and actually define what would be the ideal outcome, meaning what is the actual ideal goal I'm working toward that's going to be my best self. So maybe you have the goal of losing weight. That's fine. That's fair. Maybe you want to build some muscle. You want to get toned. But these things are not actually when the transformation happens. And as cliche as it sounds, the transformation is going to happen internally. And it has to be that way in order for you to actually sustain the results you achieve on the outside. So the reality is, I looked up the stats, 80% of people are going to regain the weight they lose on a diet because diets don't work. They just make you follow something in the short term. And the truth is, anyone can follow marching orders, see the scale drop, and then take themselves through that endless loop of losing and gaining weight and then feeling terrible each and every time because they feel like a failure for not actually maintaining that. First of all, if this is happening to you or has happened, you're not a failure. You might not have been successful with those temporary stints that you tried or whatever the reason, but the reason this hasn't stuck for you is because you need to become the type of person who stays lean and stays sculpted. And what I mean is, when you look at someone who is lean year round, who has that body sculpting muscle, who's really someone who looks like they work out, they're fit, they're healthy, whatever you would define as the peak of fitness, they're going to have a certain type of habits, a certain mindset. They have made these lifestyle changes that shaped ultimately what their identity is. So that's what we're going to dive in today's episode. We're going to talk about what we call the super sculpted lifestyle, which is the 2.0 version of yourself that you step into when you're going through our system, when you're getting sculpted. So
me too.
Yeah, I'm excited because we all have a unique type of client that we help. So I would love if you girls can share, like, what would be the starting point for one of your clients typically when they come to you?
Yeah. So a lot of my clients come to me or come to us and they're looking really to lose weight for the last time. They've done this over and over and over again, sometimes for decades. And all they want to do is do it for the last time and finally stay where they've met their goal and then see what life is like on the other side. You know, it is so wild because we have this really cool chart that we use when we try to explain this to people. And it's really like where your starting point is. You know, you've done these diets over and over again. You're feeling frumpy and frustrated and you're inconsistent with your nutrition and you're maybe working out, maybe not. You don't know if you're doing the right workouts or if you're doing them properly, execution-wise. And then you make some progress, like you said, with that diet. And diets are not set up for you to actually maintain the weight successfully. They're set up for you to lose the weight quickly. And they don't care what you do afterwards. And so we've been in this society trained to think that these extreme diets are going to be what take us to the end result where we can maintain, but we are not able to do that. And you, our listener, you're struggling going through this like looping all the time. And so the clients that come to see me most often are looking for the last time of going through this fat loss and doing it right, especially being in their mid 30s and beyond, 40s, 50s, 60s. Could you imagine dieting for 40 years? Like, it is literal insanity.
Yeah. But the sad thing is there are women in their 60s and 70s who are still using these methods and it's just keeping them stuck.
Exactly. And all they do is loop from weight loss to weight gain to weight loss to weight gain. And they never see the other side which is so exciting and fun. So I know we want to get there in a
Right.
sec, but I'd love to hear more. Like, Mare, where
Yeah.
are your clients at?
So very much the same as you, Jord, but another challenge that comes up with a lot of the women that I speak to is the idea of how am I going to make this fit into my life?
Totally.
I am busy. I am overwhelmed. And, all those diets you talk about, yeah, they might give you quick results, but they do require often for you to overhaul your life. So when the women come to me, they're like, I want this, but how do I make it work? I don't have all the time. And what I love is when we kind of blow their minds with like, again, work smarter, not harder. You don't have to be in the gym 7 days a week. You don't have to be cutting out carbs and cutting out sugar and cutting out all of these things. So I think one of the biggest challenges, and T, you hit this right on the head with the mindset, is first of all, helping them understand what actually works. Like what you've been doing does not work clearly, because I'm sorry to say, but you wouldn't be here if it worked. So a big challenge is getting them to overcome those kind of preconceived notions of what this lifestyle looks like and how it can actually fit into their day-to-day life.
And what you did when you were 20 is not going to work today. Like the strategies are different.
Yeah, overhauling your life. I think that's a good point, Mare. When you say that, what would that mean to someone? Like, where are your girls starting in terms of what does their lifestyle look like in the beginning?
Well, a lot of the women are busy working professionals. A lot of them are moms. So again, they have a very busy life. The idea when they think of taking control of their health and fitness, they see it as, oh my gosh, it's going to be more stress, more worry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of what value is this actually going to add to my life? So it's helping them understand, again, that this isn't overhauling your life. Like we're going to make this fit into the life that you lead so you can be successful. It's empowering them more than anything. So kind of my takeaway is always, what is this going to add to your life?
Mm-hmm.
Not what trouble or what stress or what overwhelm. What value is this going to add, right? As you build this 2.0 version of yourself.
And what swap outs are you making in order to do the things that are going to get you to the goal that you have while taking away from the things that are wasting your time today?
Yeah, I think like a little bit different to you guys. The people that tend to come to me, they're already doing a lot in terms of the fitness and nutrition stuff. So they're like, how could I possibly do more? Or they start thinking, maybe it's my body that's not working, or maybe it's my age. It's that I'm in perimenopause. It's that I had kids. And I find that for me, they want to actually have that toned look, but they don't realize that comes from more muscle. I think for a lot of my girls that come to me, they think they need more fat loss, and they might need a little bit for sure to reveal what they built. But by and large, it's actually spending a lot more time and intention on shaping their physique. And I think this is where my people are starting. There's a disconnect from what is my training strategy actually helping me achieve? What am I actually going to the gym to do? They don't quite connect the dots because you might think, hey, I'm just trying to sweat a little bit or feel the burn or do some type of resistance training. But really, it needs to be targeted for the outcome that you want. So yeah, my girls tend to be overdoing it with exercising in general, too much HIIT, too much cardio, not enough targeted training, and they don't need to be spending more time, like more hours per week. They need to spend time better. And that's where our motto comes from, really. It's the working smarter, not harder, which really means shaving off what you're doing and only focusing on what is going to move the needle to your goal. So what would you say would be like the first wins your clients start stacking individually? Like, Jord, what would be the milestone that they achieve in, let's say, phase 1?
So for phase 1, first of all, I love when our clients start eating more food and they're like, you want me to eat all this food? How am I going to achieve fat loss or weight loss? By eating so much.
I joke that we're going to put it on a t-shirt because that's what they always say. This is too much food.
Too much food. And the first milestone I'm looking for is that they're eating all that food and enjoying it. To me, that's a great initial win. And I would say beyond that, they're starting to be able to shop their closet again. I think that's a first big win that a lot of my clients have is they're able to go into their closet again and pull out that pair of jeans that they loved or a black dress that they just like used to be able to just slip right into. And then they put it on and they're like, I get to wear this again. This feels so good. And I call it shopping your closet because you really do get to go and explore and have so much fun getting back into the clothes that you once enjoyed before and can make new memories with. And so I'd say that's probably one of the first ones that I love to celebrate with them.
Absolutely. Agree with you totally, Jord. I love the shopping your own closet. The other thing as well is when they just start to actually make this part of their life, it's like part of who they are. So one thing that I love is, they get used to resistance training. So again, that switch goes off where it's like, okay, I don't have to spend hours on the treadmill, on the elliptical. I can actually go in with intention, with strategy and, resistance train. But the coolest thing, because a lot of our clients, they actually work out from home. I would say a fair number of them. A really cool thing in this first kind of milestone stage is when they're like, I feel stronger. I need to add more weight to my home gym.
Yes, that's the best.
Literally, my eyes bug out and my smile is like ear to ear because they not only start to realize they can physically lift, but that physical strength leads to that confidence. They show up stronger in all areas of their life. They feel like a badass, right? They're lifting heavy. So I love it when they start to add equipment, weight to their home gym, and working out becomes just who they are instead of something they do when they're on a diet or they only do for the sole purpose of losing weight. So it's that identity shift. I'm a lifter. I'm an athlete now.
Yeah. And they start to transition out from looking at just the scale and the size of themselves and start to look at things like non-scale victories and celebrating.
I love that. That's another big one.
It is like the PRs that they have in the gym or their skin clearing or medications that they no longer have to take or, the definition they see on their physique or being able to like rock a bikini and be like, oh my God, I feel amazing. Those are the things that we want to celebrate.
T, what about you with your clients in that first phase? Because I know yours are sometimes a little different.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to also share to our listener who might be thinking, oh yeah, that's a good feeling. And you lose that initial bit of body fat. You're starting to shop your closet again. You might be feeling like right now you're at the place where you don't want to go on vacation. Yes. Maybe you don't want to take your clothes off in the bedroom. You don't want to really have anything to do with getting dressed up. It's not an enjoyable experience. And what we want you to internalize here with what we're talking about is that these are the wins you begin to stack after that first fat loss phase. Loving what you see in the mirror, you're changing those fundamental habits around training and nutrition and changing your relationship with food and exercise. And I would say that for my clients in the initial period, this is the first milestone they achieve as well internally. Even if they don't have a lot of body fat to lose, it's rewriting their relationship with food and exercise slowly but surely. So the first check mark, which again, for the listener, we want you guys to future pace this. Your first check mark in that journey is I'm not exercising to burn calories or get skinny. I am not eating to make myself miserable or make myself starving. I'm filling myself up with as much whole foods as possible and nourishing myself so that I can fuel the activity that I need while also strategically changing my body composition. So it's viewing things from that lens. And like, to your point, Jord and Bear, the goal is that you're changing your identity in the process. So those are the first wins my girls start stacking is seeing, hey, I don't need to be doing HIIT all the time. You don't need to be doing HIIT ever, actually. We can implement that, but we're not trying to burn calories. We're approaching even cardio. It's good for your heart. Yes. We're not telling you not to do cardio. We love it, but we're reframing it. We want to live a long life and be healthy. We don't want to just get skinny, and we're not put on this earth to just do that. So yeah, I think that the thing that I want to kind of segue into too is you're not done after those first few wins.
No
right.
way.
Like people will sometimes stack those wins and be like, I feel great. Let's be honest, as bad as diets are, if people lose weight doing some crazy diet, they feel good for a blip of time because they're like, oh, I fit those pants again. And the feeling like crap comes, oh, I can't really sustain this. So we don't want to just stop at that milestone because that's not your full 2.0 self. That's milestone 1. That's what we want your take-home message to be. It's you're not done after you stack that initial win. And I want to talk about what happens after the fat loss phase. And a lot of women will not think that they need muscle or they don't think they need too much of it, or they don't see how it ties into fat loss. So I would love if you guys could actually share, like, what is your client's typical thought process when they've lost the fat they want to lose and you pitch the muscle building? Like, Jord, what does that look like?
So at this stage, I have always been talking about how the next stages that our clients need to go through is increasing their food. And this is a place that they've never been before.
Never.
So when we talk about muscle building, we're talking about testing their metabolic resiliency and being able to allow them to eat as much food as possible while staying lean. And that is what muscle building allows them to do, is have the definition that they're looking for, to feel sexy, to feel, tight and lean, but also be able to do all the other things that they felt like they couldn't before. And They're sexy and they're building muscle, and that gives them the opportunity to continue to reframe and level up. And I always love when women start to think of themselves as now they're the athlete. They're just not working mom trying to feel sexy in their clothes again. They're now transforming into the athlete that they are, because truly we are all athletes. We're built like athletes. And you want to be fueling yourself. You want to be lifting in the gym to live your best life. And you're not just lifting for yourself today. You're lifting for yourself in 20 or 30 years.
And I think it's also the reframe. We've been talking a lot about, making that switch, not just externally, but internally. So like we spoke about, a lot of women who do these diets, they diet and then they think they're done. So I think the big conversation we have, the cool thing too, is it's not like a conversation we have when they get to that point. We are constantly and consistently like impressing on them the importance of building muscle for all the things that you just spoke about, Jord, but also about, this is what you need to do, because otherwise you're going to have to continue reducing calories and reducing calories and reducing calories to see more change. And I always say this to my clients, like, you can't eat like a toddler, like you're a grown ass woman. So the way to be able to eat more, lift heavier, and this blows everybody's mind when we finally kind of break that bubble. When they say, I want to get toned and sculpted, it's like, well, what do you think that requires? Building muscle. So it's all contingent on building muscle. And how do we do that? We fuel our body. We lift heavier in the gym. So a big piece of the learning that we work on with our clients too is like training intensity. And it kind of goes back to your athlete's mindset. You don't just go in the gym to check the box. You're going with intention. So I think that's another big thing that women start to realize as they're building this 2.0 version. It's a huge shift for them.
It's also stepping into like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Like, this is how I take care of myself. And that's the real transition that happens when they step into the super sculpted lifestyle, is like, okay, I've made this initial change in myself. And now I'm ascending to this whole new level, not just learning and building the foundation of it, but now you get to live in the house that you built.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
That is a good analogy.
Yeah. Like, that's like the fun part. Like, now you get to decorate. Now you get to like cook in the kitchen. Now you get to garden. Now you get
the fine detail.
I like that. And it becomes fun, right? Adding value to your life. It's not taking away. And, the other thing too is body composition, right? It's the change that these women want in their body also won't be achieved by these old ways of doing things or just losing weight. You want to get that nice toned physique. That's a body composition change, which comes from, drumroll, building muscle.
That's the end game, muscle. I like that you guys are just repeating that too. It's we're reinforcing that the takeaway for you, whatever your 2.0 self is like, maybe you think of muscle and think of a bodybuilder stepping on stage. Trust me, it is not that. They have lots of it. They have some assistance in that department. And even if you tried your darndest and dialed in your nutrition and training as best you can, you will never look overly bulky and muscular.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I wanted to interject that, because if you're listening and thinking, yeah, but I don't need muscle, we are here to tell you you do.
Yes, you do. And you made a good point too about the getting bulky, because we do hear women say that. We have a lot of women who start with us who say, well, I don't want to get bulky. And again, I come back to the physique that you actually want is the one that's going to be created by building muscle.
And it's likely heavier than you thought it would be.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, we are really disassociating your best body, healthiest body, happiest body, most toned and defined body from a number on the scale. And I would say that that's another really big shift that happens when you move out of that first fat loss stage. Is you're like maybe more obsessed with the scale still. And it's still really a big focus and one of the big milestones that you want to achieve. Like, you're really looking at that. But then over time, it becomes less and less relevant. And over time, you can actually just put that thing away and go based on like the flex,
The three of us, I think that's part of our own transformation story, is we all broke up with that number. And I can't speak for you both, but I kind of think that our ideal body, our 2.0 selves that we are in right now, for me, she weighs a lot more than I thought she would. I'm actually proud of that. I'm actually happy about that.
Exactly. I love that you guys tied that in with all the shifts that you're making being so much beyond just a number and just one milestone in your journey. And that's really what we want you guys to take away here. When we say the super sculpted lifestyle, we want you to think of your very best and fittest self. And this is something that we should actually do an episode about this specifically, but mapping out what that looks like for you, how you spend your days, the thoughts that fill your head, the type of people that you're with, the hobbies you have. Like George said, you're refining the foundation that you've built by decorating the house. And that's really what makes it a home, and your body's your home. So
Love that.
Oh, I love that.
yeah, let's recap exactly what that looks like. Like, what is the super sculpted lifestyle?
The first two things that I would add to that list is that you're now consistent. You have habits around eating and training and moving your body. And the second thing is you're eating as much as physically possible, and you get to stay lean while doing that.
I love that. And I would say, you're training as little as possible to get sculpted, but you're doing it right. You're training with the right intensity, with better quality. So everything has a purpose. And we've talked about it a few times now. You have that athlete's mindset. This is not something you do for a period of time and stop. This is you. And you just want to get better and better because it's absolutely exciting to be stronger and more fit.
Absolutely. And in this process, you're going to be setting higher standards for yourself. We call these our super sculpted standards, but whatever those are for you, you're elevating all other areas of your life, because there's no way you're going to have the discipline and motivation and mental fortitude to improve just your fitness. It is inevitably going to trickle into everything that you're doing, and you're going to improve all the relationships that you have in the process. I truly believe that. And ultimately, this means that you've really made an identity shift. You haven't just changed your habits for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. You have now embodied your 2.0 sculpted self. And guess what? The bar still keeps moving higher. That's an important thing to remember. You reach that first milestone, you do that photo shoot, you take a gym selfie for the first time, whatever it is. Now, guess what? Congratulations, you've leveled up. So to me, the super sculpted lifestyle is also continuously leveling up the goals that you set for yourself and your standards.
And what's so cool about that is being able to surround yourself by community that's on that same path as you. And you don't have to be at the super sculpted lifestyle level to have that community. All of our clients are starting at different places on that journey, and they're helping others that are coming in behind them, and newer people are supporting people further ahead. And it's such a nice opportunity to be on that journey with people that are in the same mindset as you.
Absolutely. And it shows you what's possible too, right? We always say there are always people who are going to be steps ahead of you, but there are also going to be people who are steps behind you. So, you are going to become that inspiration for somebody else and inspire them to level up. So I love that. It's kind of like that giving back, that full circle.
Yeah, exactly. And I know this one was a very much a zoom out kind of session where we had you look at where you want to take yourself. But I think a good actionable step could be just to consider writing down what that looks like for you. So picture your 2.0 super sculpted lifestyle, what your best self is like, and start reverse engineering. What would you have to start changing to step into that with your daily habits right now?
That's a great tip.
Well, we are so happy that you guys joined us for another episode. This one was super fun. I personally think that this is my favorite so far. And we are so excited to share more in the next one. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this: getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.